Hello aquaponics enthusiasts. In this video we're going to have an experiment between putting some plants in an aquaponics system and putting some plants in a classic garden. I started this experiment 5 weeks ago to obtain what we have behind me. 5 weeks ago this aquaponics grow bed was empty, there was nothing. And I put the same plant in a classic garden, and what we're going to see in this video is the difference between the two of them. So during this video you're going to see what type of plant I start to put in the system. You're going to see when I put them in the system, when I put them in the classic garden, and we're going to see the evolution week after week, how it grows in the aquaponics system. This video is going to be quite long. It may be something like 30 minutes because I really want to document the growth in the aquaponics systems and the growth in the classic garden. You're going to see a massive difference of growth. At the end of the video, I also am going to show you how to cook some scallops with the herbs of the aquaponics system. I think it's interesting to see what we can do with the herbs of the aquaponics system to really increase the flavor of the food that we cook at home. So I hope you're going to enjoy this video, and if you think that aquaponics is for you, you can have access to a free aquaponics training on the description of the video just below or in the eye like information on the corner of the video. Enjoy the video. It's going to be day 0 of an experiment where we're going to add some plants in the grow bed, and we're going to plant them as well in the garden. The plants are all the same size at the moment, so we're going to see the difference of growth between aquaponics and classic garden. That's going to be very interesting. So here we are starting with some basil. So basil, I have to say, I have mixed results in aquaponics depending where I put them in different, in the type of grow bed. So that's something that I'm going to put a part here, a part in the other grow bed as well, and another part in the classic garden, and see what the difference is. We're going to try lettuce. So lettuce, we're going to put some in this grow bed, in the other grow bed, and in the garden. We're going to try sage. So sage is a very interesting plant. I haven't tried in aquaponics yet, so it's going to be a perfect opportunity. I'm going to put some in this grow bed, some in the other grow bed behind me, and some in the classic garden. So let's do it. And now we are going to plant the rest in the classic garden. So I am going to be honest with you, those plants here, I'm going to water them, right? But not like 3 times a day. So I put them in the shade, otherwise I know that if I put them in the sun, they're not going to survive. So I will put them in a place where I give them the best chances to survive. There is a tree here that is giving them a little bit of shade. They still have a lot of sunlight, but I think that's the best spot in the garden to plant those test plants. And I am watering them straight away, as you should always do in a classic garden. So we'll see what this video will give us in a few weeks. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, but just before I stop this first part of the video, just want to tell you that if you're interested by aquaponics, I recommend you to get the free aquaponics training from the description of the video just below, or in the eye like information on the corner. It's a free step-by-step video to help you to build your own aquaponics system, but also to manage it in the best way possible to produce some food that is sustainable, healthy and tasty at home. So I want to give you an update. Was 1 or 2 weeks ago, I think it was 1 week ago, I planted some salad and a few other plants in the aquaponics system, but also in the classic garden. And today is a good day to already see some differences of growth between the aquaponics system and in the classic garden. Also, another thing, I added a few other plants, so I thought we can have more plants to compare the growth. So that is the sage, and we can see that in aquaponics it grew quite well compared to the garden. So the salad is growing really well in aquaponics. As we can see, the leaves are going really well. We got some other salad here, it's even better. It's going extremely well comparing to the classic garden. And here we have some basil. So the basil, as you can see, is already quite high. You see it's probably 20 centimeters high. Here as well, this one has grown really well. While in the classic garden, it's very small. So here we are in the classic garden. So you see the basil is still very small compared to the aquaponics system. The lettuce behind, I don't even know if they have grown, to be honest, from where I bought them. They probably have, but it's very limited. The sage is here. So the sage is not too bad, to be honest. Could be worse. So we'll see how it goes in the future. We may have a comparable growth between the aquaponics system and the garden. So then I planted other things such as chives, bok choy, lemongrass, dill. So those ones are going to be parsley and spinach as well. You see, and some of them they are also not those ones, but those ones they are leek. You see. So different plants, and it's going to be interesting to see how they grow. Also here we got some zucchini. So zucchini is one of those plants that normally go really well in a garden, so we'll see how it goes in aquaponics as well. So here's the parsley that I planted in the aquaponics system. I also planted the spinach, so they are all the same size obviously because I just planted them. Only the zucchini, this one is maybe one of the smallest foot that I have. So I put 2 foot here and some in the classic garden. So those ones may be a bit slower, but we will see. So lemongrass as well here. Here we got some leek. Here we have the bok choy. So they are the same as the one we put in the classic garden again. So it's going to be interesting to compare all those different plants, the growth between the aquaponics system and the classic garden. So here we have a bit more. So it's going to be an interesting experiment. So as we can see, after 2 weeks, the aquaponics plants are growing much faster than the plants in the classic garden. But I have to be very honest, and I said it before, those plants in the aquaponics system, they don't have the same sun exposition as the plants in the classic garden. Also, the classic garden plants, I have to water them, while those ones, I haven't done anything. So you see, I have much better growth, but also it's no maintenance. I mean, that's the purpose of aquaponics anyway. 2 or 3 weeks later, as you can see, there is a lot of change on the grow bed. Everything grown really well. I planted other plants as well. So what we had at the beginning, we had the sage. So here we see the aquaponics sage is growing extremely well. Now the dill is quite high. The basil, you see, it's working quite well. I got some here, some other there. So yeah, it's quite nice. The lettuce, as you can see, they are growing very, very well in aquaponics. I got plenty of nice plants, nice leaves. So everything is growing extremely well here. Now, if you compare it to the classic garden, it's completely different. So here, the lettuce, as you can see, the lettuce is very shy, very small, nothing really to eat. The basil is small as well. You see it's quite smaller than the aquaponics one. And the other plant, which was the dill, is here. It grew a little bit, but still a bit smaller than the aquaponics system. Then the parsley, the dill here is quite smaller than the aquaponics, but it's not too bad. The bok choy, not very nice. Well, this one has been eaten anyway. Here we have some leek. They are okay. Lemongrass. So all the basically garden is okay, but not really great. Here we got some zucchini. You see, it's alright. Could be better, but it's alright. But anyway, if I compare it to the aquaponic system, everything is way smaller on the garden than on the aquaponic system. You see the bok choy here, significantly bigger than the other one. We had the zucchini, so you see it's growing quite well. So again, I made this just to have a look at, to make a comparison, but it's not a scientific comparison because obviously there is more sun exposition here. So we can't really say that the aquaponics system is the only reason why it's growing better. There are different factors. Obviously, yes, in aquaponics they got a constant supply of water and nutrients, but also there is more sun. So it's obviously it's not scientific here. But it's still interesting to see that here, without doing anything, in 3 weeks I got something that is all green, while in the garden it's very sad and I had to water it. So it's now been several weeks since the beginning of this experiment, probably 4 weeks I would say. Here behind me we have the plants that have been grown in the classic garden. So I'm going to show you the plants and you will see the development is quite limited. So here we have the lettuce, so we can see they are very small, very shy. There is really nothing or not much to eat there. So unfortunately it's quite unsuccessful to see some lettuce growing like this. They probably need way more nutrients and obviously more light as well, I would say. So there is a mix of things they are missing. Also the basil here, you see it grew a little bit, but really not significantly. It's quite small. It's been attacked by different pests. We can still harvest a little bit from this, but really it's not significant at all. The bok choy, unfortunately, it's been attacked and it grew not that much. The other one aside is a bit better, but still quite a small plant. So it didn't produce as much as it should have. In terms of lemongrass or coriander, sorry. So the coriander is looking a little bit better. It's not really big, but at least the plant is there. If we leave a bit more time, it may produce something. Our leeks, well, unfortunately they don't look good. I still water those plants, but I guess they don't have all the nutrients they need and the light, obviously. The dill is going much better, so I think the dill can deal with this type of situations. As you can see later on in the aquaponics, it's going to be different again. But I think for compared to the other plants, the dill is probably the one that is growing the better one. The spinach at the back there, as you can see, the only plant that is growing around is not the spinach. It's a truffle, so yeah, it's not that good. Here we have the parsley, so it's quite small, not that great neither. So that's it for the garden. Unfortunately, it's not really a a great experience. Oh yes, the sage. The sage in the garden is not that bad. It actually grew a little bit. So that's it for the plants of the garden. Now let's see what's happening in the aquaponics system. Okay, so here behind me, I guess you can see the massive difference. In 4 weeks, the plants have burst. They have grown so fast. I'm very, very impressed, very happy. You know, when I moved my system, the aquaponics system were almost empty. Now I can see it's all green, and that's exactly what I wanted. So we are a bit late for the tomato seasons. We have some tomatoes that are growing. I don't know if they're gonna produce much. I start to have some flowers in some. But anyway, I'm very happy with the growth that we are having. And if we compare it to the classic garden, there is no comparison. Obviously, as I highlighted it at the beginning of this experiment, we are in the sun here, while the garden is partly in the shade. So obviously it makes a massive difference at the very beginning of the experiment. But still, here we have some plants that have been grown without any action from myself. I just fed the fish, obviously, because we are in aquaponics. But I didn't water the plant. I didn't add anything to the system unless obviously feeding the fish. So when you see this all green like this, I think it's quite great. It's a really good experiment, and the outcome is quite positive for aquaponics. So now we're going to have a close look at the plants and see which one has grown the most in aquaponics compared to the garden, and where the big potential is. So it's a jungle, so it's quite hard to see anything because it's all green, but we're going to try to see the plants one by one and see if we can identify the different species and the growth. So here we can see one lettuce. So you can see this is one lettuce. This is just crazy how big it is compared to the one in the garden. There is nothing to compare. At the end of the experiment, I planted, I sprayed a few seeds of radish. So those radish, they are probably 2 weeks, and we can already see some that are here. I don't know if you can see them in the video really, but anyway, I start to have radish already. But anyway, it was not part. I didn't put any in the garden because I thought there was no potential. So here we are not going to focus on this. Here we have the sage. So the sage, which is a very nice one to cook with fish. You see, it grew quite well. Also, there is a competition between the plants, so there is not much light. But here we have the coriander. So as you can see, the coriander is way bigger than what it was in the classic garden. What do we have? So the dill now is really big. So you can see, and I already harvested because obviously I cook fish quite often. So yeah, as you can see, it's growing quite well. I'm not going to go through all the plants. I put in some little tomatoes as well, but they were seeds that were growing by themselves, so I let them grow. What else do we have? Oh yeah, the basil. The basil is a good one. As you can see here, the basil is growing quite well. So again, I trimmed it because I harvested it. I harvested some for my consumption with my family. And here we have some basil again on the other aquaponic system. On this one, we also have all the lettuce that are growing quite well, as you can see. Very interesting. So that's pretty much it. Ah yes, the bok choy. So you see the bok choy here, they are completely in the shade, and the butterflies, they are spawning on it. You see the butterfly here. They are spawning everywhere. Here's the butterfly again. So those little guys, they are spawning everywhere, but even with this, you see the bok choy is probably 3 or 4 times bigger than the one in the garden. So this is a bit of a jungle. Obviously, if I wanted to have the best growth for each of them, I should space them a bit, but I'm going to harvest a few herbs and things to make them some space. But yeah, it's producing quite well. Here we got some capsicum or chili. I think it's capsicum. and as we can see, it's producing a lot of flowers, so I guess some fruits are coming. The parsley, yes, we didn't talk about the parsley, so you can see I harvested already plenty, and I still have plenty that is growing, so parsley is going well. Everything is really going really well. I'm very happy at the moment. And you can see those butterflies, they spawn, so I don't know if we can see on the camera, but there are some little dots on the leaves. And those dots at the end of my fingertip here, they are eggs. So normally you can squash them to remove, to avoid the number of caterpillars, because we're going to have a lot of caterpillars. Thanks to those little bugs. They are really nice to see, the butterflies, but unfortunately on the aquaponics system, not really cool. I also put some zucchini here and there, but as you know, zucchini is a plant that is growing very big, so what I did, I put them on the side. So here, hopefully they're going to fall on the side of the setup, and they are not going to take too much light from the other plants. That's really the idea, to have it growing on the side and to keep the light for whatever is growing on the setup. Same for the tomato. I try to grow them in height, and then I will try to grow them on the wall behind, so that they are not going to take so much light from the other plants. I just actually caught some scallops, and I'm going to cook them. So I may harvest a bit of dill, maybe a bit of sage. What else can we cook with the scallops? Basil could be a good one as well. Maybe some leek or chives. I got chives here. So they are still small, but I guess we can do something with this. So let me show you the scallops. The scallops, I caught the scallops, you know, I went diving, and obviously I cleaned them, and now the shells are with the chicken. The chicken are gonna clean the shell, because you know on the shell there is still a bit of food for them. And once they are clean, I may use some in the aquaponics system to add some minerals of the shell. And the rest is going to go back into the sea, because I don't want to waste anything. I don't want to add something in the garbage. It's a very good element, you know, the scallop shell. So that's the way it is, you know, when you use something, take what you need, and whatever you don't need, try to share with the environment and put it wherever it is needed. So it could go, you know, at the base of the trees. It could go anywhere. But anyway, now I'm going to cook the scallops, and therefore I'm going to harvest a little bit of herbs to go with the scallops that I'm going to cook. So let's go closer to the aquaponics system, and let's see what type of plants we're going to harvest. So I am in front of you, so I don't reckon you're going to see much. But anyway, I'm going to explain you what I'm cutting. So, you know, I had 35 scallops. I went diving, and I love diving. I have a channel about spearfishing and diving, actually. But anyway, it's not the topic here. Here I'm just harvesting a bit of dill, because it's going to go really well with the scallops. So when you harvest the leaves that are away from the center, so that the plant can still grow, you know. And I harvest quite a few plants or leaves, but still plenty of energy for the plant to grow. And when you do that, obviously you make some room for the new plants, for the new shoots, you know. So it's never really bad to harvest, and what you don't want in aquaponics is to leave the plant to go back to the grow bed, you know, to create more organic matters. Otherwise, then you have too much organic matters, and it's not really good. Okay, it smells amazing. So I got this. I may take a little bit of coriander, not too much. Some sage I was talking about before, because sage is excellent. I really like sage. So same thing for the sage, you can take the old leaves if you want to keep the plant going, otherwise if you have too much, you can harvest the whole thing. Or here I can see a caterpillar. So the caterpillar, I give it to the fish straight away. The sun is quite strong today. So I am harvesting those leaves of sage. I got a fair few now. I think we are quite good, and I'm going to take a bit of chive. So for the chive, there is no real technique. I just take the whole thing and I trim it like this. So you see I got a fair few plants, and that's plenty enough for what I need to do. Here we are. So we have our scallops from Melbourne Bay, from the ocean, that I went diving for. We have a bit of chives and the herbs from the aquaponics system. So chives, dill, chives, and this is sage, and one piece of coriander, because my parents are here. They don't really like coriander too much, so I love it, but I'm not gonna add too much to it. So that's it, guys. Now I'm just gonna, do a little bit of mix of those plants. So I like to have the herbs fresh, because that's where you have the most flavor, but also you have the most vitamins. You preserve all the nutrients. It's not always possible to have them fresh. Sometimes you want to cook with. What I do, I put half of them as I cook the scallops. Anyway, the scallops are not something that needs to be cooked too much, but that's more for the sauce. And then I put the other half at the end when it's done. So that at least you have half of the vitamins that are really fresh when you eat them. And that's it. We have 3 herbs here, and as you know, in aquaponics we also have the fish that are growing in the aquaponics system. So everything here is completely free. It smells amazing. Non? Tu as coupé les 3 morceaux là? So here we can really see the difference between a classic garden and an aquaponics garden in terms of growth. If you haven't started aquaponics, I really recommend you to get the free guide to build your own aquaponics system. It's a free 6 steps process that is available in the description of the video just below, or in the eye-like information on the corner of the video somewhere. If you enjoy those types of video, you can subscribe to the channel. I release videos regularly. The aim is to help you to build your aquaponics system, but also to manage it in the best conditions to produce sustainable, healthy and tasty food in your own backyard thanks to aquaponics. If you find this type of information interesting, you are welcome to share it with your friends. If you have any question, please leave it in the comment section. Below the video there is a comment section. It would be great if you can give me your input. We can exchange ideas and build a new aquaponics way together. And if you think this video is valuable, please give it a like. It really helps the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Don't forget to get your free gift from this screen. You can also leave me a comment below the video, subscribe to the channel and see my last video. I really hope to see you soon. and I wish you a fantastic success with aquaponics. Have a good crop!